Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Community Corner podcast. I'm Arnav.
And I'm Nikhil, and today we're tackling a very serious and increasingly prevalent issue, scams and fraud.
And in our digital age, scams and frauds are the most sophisticated and widespread than ever, and it's crucial to be informed and vigilant to protect ourselves and our loved ones.
Absolutely. From phishing emails to complex financial scams, the landscape is constantly evolving in this space.
Yeah, I think we should start out by kind of defining what we mean by scams and frauds, Nikhil.
Sure. So obviously, this is a very broad set of two terms, right? And I think to kind of narrow it down here, scams and fraud involve deceptive practices, right? To essentially illegally obtain money or personal information from individuals, like credit card info, or addresses, things like that, whatever it is. Now, they range from very simple deceit to complex schemes, often involving exploiting trust and exploiting loopholes.
And just for our viewers out there, some of the common types of scams that we should all be aware of in this digital age, let me start with one prevalent one, right? It's phishing, where basically scammers use fake emails or websites to extract personal information. And on top of that, there's also investment scams, which promise unrealistic returns, and even lottery or inheritance scams, where trick people into paying fees for non-existent rewards,
right?
Like that one random Nigerian guy in your emails.
Sure, I guess that's one way to put it. So I think it's alarming kind of how diverse these scams are, right? There's just so many things. Like you said, you mentioned the phishing, you mentioned, whatever that Nigerian guy was doing, you mentioned the lottery, the inheritance scams, all that stuff. And so what kind of makes people so vulnerable to all these different types of frauds? Yeah,
so it all comes down to the lack of awareness. Right? Scammers prey on emotions like greed, fear, and empathy. And it's important to stay informed and question anything that seems too good to be true or overly alarming. Like a lot of these scammers, they target essentially like older people because they're more emotional, right? If someone's in distress, they're more willing to help out. And they're also less tech savvy, so they might not know the intricacies of how these scammers operate in these new and digital world. So it's all about staying aware about the scams that are around us and how to prevent them and just staying safe, basically, in this digital age.
Right, and I think, with that said, there's a lot of ways that we can recognize and essentially protect ourselves from these scams, right? I think some of the key things include being very skeptical of unsolicited contacts, especially involving money or personal information. If you get, a random call for someone asking about, claiming to be someone at a bank, saying that you made this withdrawal, make sure you confirm that with them, ask them questions to essentially verify their authenticity or verify the request. Like if they say that you made a withdrawal from a bank account, well, let's go check your bank account out and make sure that whatever they're saying is true. And don't share very sensitive information like passwords or PINs or social security numbers, things like that of that nature to anyone unless it's absolutely necessary and you know for sure that it's going to be required for whatever you're doing.
I think specifically, let's kind of dive into financial scams, right? Nikhil, how do they operate and what should we look out for?
Right, so financial scams often involve, fake investment opportunities or fraudulent banking schemes. So a lot of red flags include high pressure tactics, demands for secrecy, and guarantees of high returns with little or no risk, such as kind of Ponzi schemes, for example.
Yeah, and the consequences can truly be devastating, right? Some of the steps that someone should take if they suspect that they've been scammed is, I guess, number one, the number one immediate action is contacting financial institutions to secure accounts. And I guess you can also report to authorities like the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission, which kind of monitors and regulates these scams and frauds around our area. And also spreading awareness to prevent others from falling victim to similar scams, right? It's all about it's all about raising awareness about these scams and about these frauds, knowing where you stand and how to prevent them so that they don't affect you or your family or your loved ones.
And I know we talked a little bit about how you guys as people can stay very wary of these scams, but there's also a lot of agencies out there that are making efforts to combat these scams. So, law enforcement and regulatory agencies are constantly working to track down and prosecute the scammers to do no additional harm to other people. And so many other organizations conduct awareness campaigns and provide resources for scam prevention, kind of like how we're talking about this right now so that you guys are aware.
And like we said, it's all about staying informed and staying aware, especially in this new digital age where security is such a main concern, right? And so cybersecurity plays such a pivotal role in preventing scams. You want to kind of dive deep on that, Nikhil?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it is absolutely critical, and it involves basically protecting systems and networks from digital attacks. So this includes using strong passwords, having secure networks, and being very cautious with emails and online transactions. And this is something that occurs both from a business standpoint and from a personal standpoint. For your end, maintaining strong passwords is definitely an important thing, but also from that business end, it's also kind of that business's duty to make sure that they have a very secure network, because let's say, again, with bank account information, if a hacker were to get into the bank account, they're going to access more than just one person's information. They're probably going to access, at least a couple hundred or 1,000, or even every single person that's accessing that bank for services. So it's very important on the business side to make sure that they're also using secure networks.
100%. And I think on that note, we kind of wrap up this episode. Thank you so much, guys, for staying in, staying tuned, listening in, and being cautious is key. And so I guess final thoughts is stay alerted and educated. And in the fight against scams and fraud, knowledge is your best defense.
Peace.
Peace.